Hello everyone, welcome back to Abhyaas Law Prep. In this video, we'll be discussing your most important constitutional law amendments for your LAWCET 2026. First, understand what's amendment. Amendment is nothing but change for a good cause. So our constitutional amendment talks about the power of Parliament, which is given under Article 368 of our Constitution, to change our provisions or laws in Constitution. As we all know, our Constitution is not rigid, neither flexible. Our Constitution adapts as per the needs of our society. So here we can say that our Constitution is quasi-flexible, it's not rigid and it's not even flexible. Your Article 368 is the one which gives your Parliament the power to amend. Amend is nothing but change. When you're saying change, what all includes in this change? It can be addition, it can be removal, it can be modification. So you can change something, in a sense you can remove something, you can add something, or you can change something. Here, why is it important from your LAWCET point of view? First, they can directly ask you which amendment added what. For example, what does your first amendment have been talking about? What if it have added or what it have removed? It can also add, they can also ask you the landmark constitutional changes. For example, your 42nd amendment is the most important one and it have made many landmark changes. They'll ask you directly what is 42nd amendment, list down the changes it have made. It can be anything, or else they can ask you fundamental rights related, DPSP related, or your fundamental duty related amendments. So in the upcoming slides, we'll see these things detailedly. Coming to your first amendment, as soon as our constitution came into force, the first amendment added or made to our constitution was in 1951. It have added our 9th schedule. The 9th schedule made sure that whatever Parliament is making any laws regarding your land reform, it should not be judicially reviewed. You know about judicial review, I guess. Judicial review is nothing but where judiciary review the laws made by Parliament to secure it, to secure your land reform laws. 9th schedule was added. And also by first amendment, they have added reasonable restrictions under your Article 19. If you remember in our last video, we have discussed what is Article 19, what are the rights given under Article 19 and restrictions to those rights. So specifically, the restrictions under your 19A, which talks about freedom to speech, those restrictions are added by your first amendment. Then comes your 7th amendment, which talks about reorganization of states on linguistic basis. As you all know, linguistic is nothing but languages. Telugu speaking states will be one, and your Tamil speaking areas will be treated as one state. Your Marathi speaking areas will be treated as one state. So on the basis of the language, we have reframed or reorganized your states. Coming to 24th amendment, here we said, your Parliament have said or added saying that Parliament is very much capable of amending fundamental right, including any part of the Constitution. It means it clearly said by this amendment, it have inserted a thing that Parliament can change whole of the Constitution, including your fundamental rights. Then we come with your 25th amendment, where they says that your DPSP is more powerful than your property rights. So here what we can do is, whenever we are doing this, because this is memory based, we should remember the number and the keywords. So whatever I am underlining is your keyword. For your 25th amendment, it will be DPSP over fundamental over property rights. Here in 25th amendment, they said your DPSP, that is more important to fund your property rights. If you remember, in your year 1971, they made a reform, socialistic reform, that rich should give their land to poor. If you remember that Andolan, it is talking about this, that the socialistic reform should be there and rich people should donate their land to poor. So from here it came DPSP over property rights. Then comes the most important 42nd amendment, which is also known as your mini constitution, because it have changed or added many things in our constitution. We started calling it as mini constitution. So for example, you can also get a question asking which amendment is known as mini constitution. So 42nd amendment is known as mini constitution. In your 42nd amendment, we have added fundamental duties. We have added word socialist, secular, integrity in our preamble. If you remember, we have studied preamble already in the previous video. So these three words, socialist, secular and integrity, are added by 42nd amendment, and then it also strengthens your DPSP. We even read that DPSPs are not strong, they are not enforceable, we can't file a case if your lawmakers are not following DPSP. But in 42nd amendment, they said you should make sure that DPSPs are strong. Now comes 44th amendment, where they says right to property is no more a fundamental right. In your fundamental rights, if you observe, after 19E, there is no 19F. There is directly 19G, which is right to profession. This is right to residence. Where is F? F was your right to property, which has been removed, and it have been shifted to your legal right, which is your Article 300A. Priorly, before this 44th amendment in 1987, we used to treat right to property as fundamental right under your Article 19F, which now have been inserted as 300A, which is only our legal right. Now coming to 52nd amendment, it is talking about anti-defection law. Here we have added 10th schedule, where it talks about anti-defection law, which means elected MPs and elected MLAs can't shift their party just for their personal benefits. If you want to learn about it more, please read this recent Raghav Chadda's news, which will also be important for your current affairs as well as legal thing, because we have anti-defection laws where if you shift your party or you change your party, you will be treated as disqualified. Please get into depth of this because it have been happened like recently. So this might be the important one. You can give 3 stars for it. Then 61st amendment says, first it used to be 21. First, to cast a vote before 1989, you should be 21 years old or more. But now, after your 61st amendment, they made sure that everyone who is 18 years or more will be eligible to cast their vote. It made sure for more youth involvement in our country. In a sense, even people who are 18, 19, 20 should be involved, and even they should cast the vote was the reason to change it from 21 to 18. Next comes your 73rd amendment, which is more focused on your rural governance. In a sense, it is more focused on rural self-government. In a sense, there will be no influence of state government, but locally, rurally, people will govern themselves. So here they have introduced 3-tier rural governance, where you'll have your Gram Panchayat, you'll have your Panchayat Samiti, you'll have your Zilla Parishad. So it have granted constitutional status to your Panchayati Raj institutions. These are there. These are the Panchayati Raj institutions. They have given recognition, and this amendment have given more support or more push towards local self-governance. And similar to 73, we have 74th amendment, which is talking about urban local bodies or urban local governance, where we talk about municipalities. For example, we have GHMC, Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation. This also falls under your 74th amendment, where we are saying that locally manane govern chesukovala. There should be no heavily influence of state government or your center government. We should be capable of governing ourselves. Now the important one is your 86th amendment, which talks about right to education. So 21A, Article 21A talks about right to education. It was not existing until year 2002. 2002 mundu varaku we didn't have right to education as our fundamental right. But later on it was added by 86th amendment, and it have also added a fundamental duty. The last fundamental duty. If you remember, we have said originally we had 10 fundamental duties, but after your 86th amendment, we had 11th fundamental duty included, where it says parents of child from age 6 to 14 should compulsorily send their children to school. That is your fundamental duty. Now comes your 91st amendment, which is also talking about your anti-defection provisions. They have strengthened your anti-defection provisions, and they also made a size until they have controlled the limit of people being appointed as council of ministers. For example, in Lok Sabha, if there are 100 people, only 15 will be considered as council of ministers. Here we have set a limit, 15% of total strength of house. Lok Sabha lo enta mandi unte daniki 15% will only be eligible for your council of ministers. Because usually, initially what they used to do, politicians, that I want this railway minister's position, I want this food minister's position, something like that. It used to be more of personal benefit. Now they have implied one cap ante not more than this. So here we are saying not more than 50%, 15% of your strength of the house will be eligible for your council of ministers. Now comes your 97th amendment, which is talking about cooperative societies, and we are giving legal recognition or your constitutional status to your cooperative society. We are giving them, or we are encouraging them to form cooperative societies and to manage themselves autonomously. Autonomously ante government di ekkuva influence undadu, government di ekkuva interference undakunda, they'll be self-governing. So cooperative societies are given constitutional validity or recognition under your 97th amendment. Now the most important one, I guess you all will know, 101 amendment, which is also known as GST, One Nation, One Tax. It is also known as One Nation, One Tax, where we have abolished all our indirect taxes. Whatever indirect taxes we used to have, we removed them and we bought one tax that is known as Goods and Services Tax, GST, by our 101 amendment in 2016. Now comes your 103rd amendment, which is also important, which talks about your EWS reservation. Your EWS reservation, that is 10% given to people who are economically weak and they are falling under general category. Manam OC antam kada, OC vallu, if they are poor, if they are economically weak, we'll treat them as EWS category, economical weaker section, and they have 10% of reservation via 103 amendment. And this amendment have also inserted your Article 15 clause C and Article 16 clause 6. This is also 6 and that is also 6. Remember, 15 talks about no discrimination on basis of race, caste, sex, and then 16 talks about your right to no discrimination in your opportunity, employment opportunities. So here we have added and here we have added. In a sense, there will be no discrimination for them. They can make special laws for your EWS, and here they'll give special provision, that is they'll give reservation to your EWS is what they are talking. Now comes your 104th amendment, which is talking about reservation extended for more 10 years. We have extended reservation for SCs and STs in Lok Sabha and also in your state assemblies, but we have removed your Anglo-Indian reservations from this 104 constitutional amendment in 2020. we have said that no more Anglo-Indian reservations, and the reservations we gave for SC, STs in Lok Sabha will be extended to more 10 years, furthermore 10 years. Coming to 105, it says that restoration of state's power to identify OBCs. Now, a state, for say Telangana government will have right to classify these caste of people will be recognized as OBC. Before it used to be done by central government. Then now, after this amendment in 2021, they said that we give back the power to state to identify OBC of their own states. Now coming to the recent one, the recent and the last amendment is 106th amendment, which is also known as Nari Shakti Vandana Adhiniyam. Please remember it, Nari Shakti Vandana Adhiniyam, which is also known as Women's Reservation Act. Here we said that 33% of reservation for women will be given in Lok Sabha, all the state legislative assemblies, and also in your Delhi legislative assemblies. Here when we are saying about 33% of reservation, it also includes your SC/ST women seats. It doesn't mean that you'll separately give SC/ST women reservation. They will get the reservation here only. It will be included here. So what key points you should remember in this 106 one is Nari Shakti Vandana Adhiniyam, women's reservation, 33%. Where they'll get the reservation? They'll get reservation in Lok Sabha, state legislative, Delhi legislatives, and SC/ST women will be included here in 33%. Now, if to sum up this whole slides or this video, what are the important facts you should remember? So the damn sure one which you should remember at any cost is 42nd Amendment, mini constitution. 52nd Amendment is also known as anti-defection law. It is known for anti-defection laws. 61st Amendment is known for the reduction of age for voting from 21 to 18. 73rd and 74th Amendment is talking about your municipals, that is like local body governance. 73 about rural panchayat, rural governance or panchayats. 74 is talking about municipalities, that is your urban governance. Then comes your 86th Amendment, which talks about right to education, which have included two things. One is your Article 21A and one is your 11th fundamental duty. This is you need to remember. And then 101 GST, 103 EWS, 10%, and if you want to remember more, Article 15 Clause 6 and Article 16 Clause 6 was being added to your fundamental rights by 103rd Amendment. Then 106th Amendment, the recent one, which talks about, the recent one, and it talks about women reservation. And then 105 talks about OBC identification. The power of identification of this OBCs will be given back to the state. And then 104 Amendment is talking about Anglo-Indian reservation being removed. If you want to remember anything more about 104, you can also remember 10 plus years. In a sense, they have extended 10 years for SC and ST reservations. So this is it. This is it for your constitutional amendments. And if you found this video helpful, please like, share and subscribe.